Okay, well, I'm going to try this again. I've tried this film a couple of times today already, and I've had some technical difficulties with getting it to upload, but I'm gonna try it again. First of all, let me welcome you back to school. So nice to have you back, and I hope that over the Thanksgiving holiday you had a good chance to spend time with family and just rest and relax, and also to reflect on the good and perfect gifts that the Lord has given us. We are truly blessed, and I welcome you back here. I want to also call your attention to some things you've already seen in the module. You've already seen today's assignments, I'm sure. Notice how there are a lot of announcements. Homework is assigned. You should have also already seen the Chapter 11 objectives. We're looking at a test on Chapter 11 on Monday, December 9th. You'll also notice that the interview questions are due on Thursday this week, December 5th. And then the ultimate interview is due January 6th, Monday, the Monday that we return from Christmas holidays. However, I will make it worth your turning in. I'll give you bonus points and make it worth your turning in if you turn them in before dismissal. It won't take you a whole lot of time to sit down and conduct the interview once you've done all the planning, and you'll find it to just be easy and convenient to have it out of the way as you go into Christmas holiday, to not have anything from world history that you're looking at or trying to do. Now, what I want to do today is I want to continue a discussion with you about your interview questions, about how to set up your interview plan. You'll remember that we spoke about this some time back. We spoke about sort of the way that you can control you. You cannot control the other person. You can only control you when you conduct the interview. And you have to get them to give you certain kinds of information with the ways that you ask the questions. So you need to have an objective. You need to plan this ahead of time. You want a specific type of information. You want a specific form of answer. You want them to talk, describe, explain. You want to get them to tell you sort of narratives and stories about things. And you need to build your questions to lead in that way, to lead them to answer those kinds of things. Now, when we get to the interview itself, we spoke about those things in the other film. By the way, I have that other film posted up on the modules page. When you get to the interview, and you're building your questions, you need to build them in 4 basic categories. The first one, setting and background. You want to get an idea of this person's setting in the background. This section, you should spend about 3 minutes of your interview talking about this. Your questions are going to be more factual in this section. Your questions are going to be more factual in this section. You're going to spend about 3 minutes here, and you're wanting to ask them, what was their setting against this background? Were they a contractor for the Pentagon? Were they a schoolgirl in France during World War II? Were they a Japanese citizen during World War II? You're wanting to ask these people what their setting was, and these questions are going to be more factual. Don't ask them here to describe in a great detail, or they may spend 15 minutes telling you about being a schoolgirl rather than about some of their other experiences concerning World War II or whatever it may be. So your first section of your interview is the background, or the setting section. When you turn these questions in, give me a copy of your questions and break it down in these sections. You may even want to use a note card and have one note card set for setting, background, and then put out to the side there 3 minutes. These questions are a tool for you. You're not going to have to ask every question on the list. They're a guide for you so that you have a tool, so that when you're there in the interview, you have some stuff highlighted that you're going to ask them. So the first bit is the setting background. The next section, let me go for the second and the third sections together here. Their general experiences and their emotional experiences. And in the general experiences section and the emotional experiences section, you are wanting to ask open-ended questions, leading questions. You're wanting to get them to describe these things. You're wanting to get them to give you narratives and essays on these things here. So notice, you're going to ask them, do you remember? Can you explain a typical day that you remember while you were there? Or how did that make you feel? So notice these two sections are general experiences and emotional experiences. And sometimes you'll ask about a general experience, and then you'll ask about their emotional response. Were you scared? Or what things were you scared of then? Or what things made you worried during those days? Do you consider that a happy time in your life or a stressful time in your life? Ask those questions about emotional experiences. What were your opinions about those things that were going on? So that's going to be kind of the emotional experiences side. The general experiences, you're asking them about memories. What things would you do in the day? How would you have to do things differently during those times? Or how was it, can you explain what you remember about this? If you're talking with a combat veteran, you want to ask them about memories during combat. You want to ask them, were they scared? Were they scared about this thing? So you want to ask about those kinds of things here. The general experiences and the emotional experiences are going to be the bulk of your interview. You're going to spend 3 minutes in the background info, but you need to spend, if you're doing a 15-minute interview, you need to spend about 11 of them in general experiences and emotional experiences. This is where you get the human element. And let me speak to you about this concerning the emotional experiences. As you talk about the emotional experiences, you need to understand that I am not going to hold you accountable for their language, okay, within reason. All right, if you just go out there and interview a peer or a cousin or something, and they are just very profane for the joke of it, no, you're going to have to get somebody else to interview. But if Papa lets a word slip, or Aunt so and so gets irritated as she's thinking about something and says something inappropriate, just roll with it. Don't stress out. Don't say, "Oh, we got to stop. We got to do that over. Mama, we need to redo that film." You can't say a bad word on a Christian school. No, just roll with it. Roll with it. Okay? Don't make a big deal of it, and move on and keep the questions going. Also, during these general experiences and emotional experiences, if somebody here starts to chase a rabbit, if chasing the rabbit gives you the human experience and it's not a part of your plan, gives you the human experience related to the topic, and it deals with the topic, go for it. If you ask, Uncle Joe about those Nazis, and he says, "Yeah, the Nazis, we had to fight with them, we killed them on the battlefield, but they were just people. I remember this one POW, and I shared a cigarette with him, and he knew some broken English, and he was talking about his family and how he had 2 sisters, and I had 2 sisters, and we talked about that day. He's just a person." If they chase a rabbit like that, go with it. Go with it. If instead they chase a different rabbit, if they instead, you say, "Well, what were the Nazis about?" and it's unrelated, they say, "Well, the Nazis are like those Republicans these days, or like those Democrats these days, and they get it. You know what's wrong with America? What's wrong with America these days is that these people, this, that, or the other." Well, don't tell them, no, Papa, you need to be quiet about that. Don't say that. Instead, just say, well, Papa, what I was wondering about was this, and give them another question that draws them back into the discussion. Okay, so you need to be sure that you're doing that. You need to be sure that you're handling those things in the interview that way. And then finally, the fourth section to your questions, to your plan, is lessons learned. Here you need to ask them questions about, well, do you think that this helped you in your life? Or, do you think that, what do you think my generation should learn from this? Or what would you tell young people today based on this? Just a little minute or two of a response about what they learned from this overall thing. What they learned from the overall thing. And then finally, you want to put a conclusion on it. Your conclusion needs to be a word of thanks to the person you're interviewing. Thank you, Brother Joe, for talking with me about this. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Please know that I'm thankful for that. Thanks for helping me with my history project. I've learned a lot, or something like that. You want to be grateful in your statement of conclusion. By the way, your statement of introduction, way back at the beginning, should just be very momentary. It should be, hi, I'm Brandon Tucker, and for my world history project, I'm going to be talking with my papa about his experience in World War II. I mean, that's it. That's what you want to say. Hi, my name is Susie Johnson, and today I'm going to be talking with my aunt about integration of schools in the 1960s. And you want to kind of point to the person like you're introducing them when you do that in the intro. And then jump into the background, the general experiences, the emotional experiences, the lessons learned, those kinds of things. All right, so you've gotten an idea from these two films about how to build your plan. You need a bunch more questions than you're going to ask, and then you want to go back and highlight those that you really want to focus in on or try to get to. And then in the interview, you're going to have to kind of think on your feet a little bit then, but you'll have those note cards that you can reference. Give me a copy of those on Thursday. You keep a copy and try to schedule that interview. I'll let you know if there's something that you really need to tweak. Okay, have a good day.